Well, hey there, hi there, and most importantly, ho there. Ho where, you might ask? Keep your mind out of the gutter. This is the Raw Review Live. I am Brian Zane, and it is July 20th, 2020. There's a lot of 20s in that date right there. It must mean something. But it is the first Raw after the horror show at Extreme Rules. If you want to know my thoughts on that show, you can go check the review out in the archives. And it was quite a doozy. And we're going to talk about how tonight's show went with the fallout, with all that stuff. And as I want to do on these live reviews, I'm just going to try and breeze through the show itself like I normally do in a pre-recorded one. And then we'll kind of open the floor up for super chats and other things of that nature. So we're going to begin this week's show with the Eye Plucker, Seth Rollins, opening the show. Seems like every major feud Seth gets involved in, he earns a new nickname. So, yeah, make him the Eye Plucker. Why not? They explain as he's making his way to the ring that, you know, they're able to save his vision because the eye wasn't wholly severed. So, you know, good for him. The shame chant by the crowd was great. We heard a little bit of that in the pay-per-view as well. Seth says he knew what he was going to be in for when he did the Eye for the Eye match, but what he saw will haunt him forever. He asked the fans if they regret what they've done to him, and by proxy, Rey Mysterio. It's all your fault, fans. Yes. Every bad thing that's ever happened is all your fault. That's the kind of message I think they're kind of sending here. Damn, what have we done? We turned him into the Messiah, and we caused all this really shitty booking. Seth says that Rey is already old news. He says he's out of sight, man. I love this one guy in the crowd who all night is such a great heckler. At one point, he just shouted all the time throughout the show, and Seth goes, Rey, there's one thing you have to know, Rey, and he goes, can't see! Like, oh, I love this guy. We'll go back to him a little later in the show. There's no one left to stand in the way of the greater good. The greater good. When all of a sudden, Aleister Black appears, Aleister says, no, it's actually, you know, Seth's fault, not Rey's, that Rey no longer has a working eyeball, and so he wants to right the wrongs. Murphy kind of runs in, wants a shot, but Black destroys him, and we go to our first match as Seth takes on Aleister Black in singles action. As the match goes on, Aleister hits the Black Mass, Murphy runs in, he gets got again, Rollins escapes, and Seth starts attacking Aleister's arm. That's the big thing. He's the Beast Slayer, the Eye Plucker, and he's the Arm Breaker. That's kind of what he's going for right now. He hits the Stomp to win, and man, it's crazy thing. At one point, Aleister Black was the belle of the ball. He was in that dark room picking fights with people while wearing a suit, and now here he is, just losing most of the time, fighting for Rey Mysterio's honor, essentially. Then afterwards, Seth and Murphy beat Aleister down some more after the bell, more arm attacks, big stomp onto the hood of on his arm, on the hood of the announce table, which I guess makes it more devastating than normal. Can't wait until SummerSlam when they have the two of them fight in an arm's reach match where the winner rips his opponent's arm off and beats him to death with it. My one question was, where was Humberto? Humberto Carrillo also seems to be kind of a Rey friend by proxy, and so to have him not show up at all I thought was interesting. Also interesting, let's talk about Ron Simmons just showing up for no reason. He's just having chats with people. Well, first of all here, he's like talking to MVP and Lashley. He cuts in mid-conversation. He's like, remember what I told you, you know, there's a better way. You know, don't go, you know, go for the light side and everything. Go do a show in Rome, Georgia, and talk about Jesus. And that's the way you do it. And so, as MVP and Lashley are talking, R-Truth shows up holding a massive frying pan just because he's on the run. And so they talk some more trash to him. And R-Truth says that MVP's built as a replica and that Apollo's the real champion. MVP and Lashley want the 24/7 champion to come join them in the ring. But what they mean by that is they want Shelton Benjamin, who in a second is going to be the new 24/7 champion, to join them in the ring. So he, cheap shots, Truth, lays him out, and yeah, Shelton Benjamin, out of nowhere, is the new 24/7 champion. We're making a new beatdown clan all of a sudden. The role of Kenny King is played by Shelton Benjamin tonight, folks. I'm really excited about this. I think it's kind of cool to see this group forming here. MVP is the brains of the operation, and it's just great because they're all like veterans too. Like there's not like a really young boy amongst them, and they're all multi-year veterans. So I think it's really cool. It's very cool little faction they've made here. So MVP and friends come to the ring. MVP talks trash about Apollo Crews and calls Ricochet and Cedric Alexander dumb and dumber. And then Cedric and Ricochet come out, and they say that line was hilarious in 2006, back when MVP was still relevant. Oh, snap. Ricochet, while he's talking, sounds like he's about to cry the entire time. He's on the verge of tears, or like he's holding back a burrito or something. Didn't sit well with him. MVP calls them little boys compared to the Hurt Business, and so then they bring out their friend, their third man for the evening. It's Mustafa Ali. He's back, and he found his first name again. So he's back there, and now we've got this 6-man tag, Hurt Business versus the three of them, Alexander, Ricochet, and Prince Flippy Mustafa Ali. Flippy is he. Cedric and Rico sell their asses off. Ali does not do a whole lot in this matchup. He gets in there for the hot tag, what the crowd goes wild for, but that's pretty much the extent of it here. It's mostly Cedric and Rico, and in the end, Ali lawn darts himself. One of the most impressive spots of the night is Lashley's got Cedric and Rico by the throat, and then Ali just comes flying in, Ralph Wiggum style, bam, just flies out, hits a straight point onto Lashley, who then tumbles over the announce table. MVP takes a 450 from Ali, and Ali wins. So Ali gets a victory over the presumptive, the self-proclaimed U.S. champion. So it's kind of cool. It instantly sets him up as, a possible contender for MVP. You know what they should do is just make him like the interim U.S. champion. Kind of like what they're doing. They're not really talking about the interim stuff right now on NXT, but Santos Escobar is the interim champion. Like Jordan Devlin's still technically he's the champ who never lost his belt. So Santos is the interim. MVP should call himself the interim champion, and we could have like some kind of what do you call it? A unification or something to settle it whenever Apollo Crews comes back. So I guess my biggest question is, so is the SmackDown hacker angle, is that just dead then? Like what happened with, all signs pointed to it being Ali. Like we saw like the Iron Man, the core thing glowing in the screens. And so I thought that was interesting where they were going with it, and then the hacker was just gone for weeks, and now Ali is on Raw. Coincidence? That was my thought about that. I wonder if the hacker is just on ice for now, or if they're going to, I don't know. We go Randy Orton promo, talks about the moments that changed his life, and it's not so much like the in-ring accomplishments, like winning the championship, joining Evolution. For him, the moment that changed his life the most was when he hit the one-man concerto on Edge one night after the Royal Rumble. Talks about how his former friends, Edge, Christian, and Big Show all let him down, and he will take great satisfaction in punting Big Show's skull. Good intensity here by Orton. I love this promo. It's so intense. Like, he's not angry or shouty. He's like scary in his own kind of soft-spoken way. That's what I really liked about Orton's delivery so far in this current incarnation. Ron Simmons still hanging out, having a chat with the Viking Raiders. Sounds like that sounds nice. I would like to sit under the learning tree of Ron Simmons with the Viking Raiders. It's just, why? Why is he there? It just seemed like it was kind of a cameo for the sake of a cameo. We get this Big Show career highlight package, even showing like snippets of the stuff in WCW. I think it's funny, like when you look at certain wrestlers like who are in WWE, who had a run in WCW, they maybe pick one singular moment from their run. Like I was thinking just as I was watching that and saying, oh, they are exclusively showing the Giant like in his first few months in WCW when he won the championship. It reminds me of like Roddy Piper's DVD that came out for him. They talk about his run in WCW, but the only thing they talk about is the Hogan program. It's like his Halloween Havoc to Starrcade, and that's it. You don't hear about the rest of his run there at all. There's no RPVP. There's no in prison at Alcatraz. There's no putting over Buff Bagwell in a boxing match. None of that shit. So it's just kind of like selective how they pick their stuff there. But it's cool to see the little representation there. We then get Christian on a Zoom call talking about Randy Orton. And Christian says he couldn't believe that Orton weaponized a two-time Hall of Famer. That is a phrase that had to have been written by a human because no computer could simulate that. He says he can never look at Flair and Orton the same. Not sure if he'll be the same after what happened in their unsanctioned match last month. He says he can't wait for Big Show to knock Orton out cold. It was nice to see Christian again, kind of the whole somber tone thing. We then get a Bianca Belair interview. What can we expect from the EST now that you're here, still on Raw, despite you've been here for a couple months now? And then Bianca kind of rattles off her catchphrase. It's kind of like a catch-all, like EST. I'm the best, the fastest, da-da-da-da. Peyton and Royce interrupts, calls her the dumbest and the stupidest, and Ruby Riot shows up, mocks Peyton for, what happened last week. Ruby tries to do an Australian accent, but it comes off more like stereotypical Cockney, like, hello, governor, like, it's the kind of Cockney accent where if, like, you talk to someone who actually has that, dialect, they would not take kindly to you doing that gross generalization. Things get tense, and then finally Bianca settles things down. We'll never see her again the rest of the night, and tells me go get ready for their match. So we go to that match now. Peyton Royce and Ruby Riot. Peyton's riding solo. Billie Kay is dealing with business elsewhere, or as Peyton describes it, in none of your business. It's a pretty short match. There was a cool submission in the ropes by Peyton. I don't know if I've seen that one before, but I thought it was pretty cool. Like, every once in a while, Peyton kind of slips in a really cool move. Like, what was it, a week or two ago? She hit it was 2 weeks ago. She hit that twisting brainbuster thing. That was really dope. Ruby hits the Riot kick to win, and then after she wins, she looks to be overcome with emotion. Wow, I finally cleared this massive hurdle of beating one half of the most jobberific tag teams in the women's division. She's come so far, am I right? Moving on backstage. We see Zelina and crew, Andrade and Angel Garza, very glistening. The AC is not on in the Performance Center right now because any backstage wrestler, they're just like drenched. Like, what is going on? Are they walking through a mister right before they go into the on-camera area? They're talking about how, they are on one page, they're on the same page, they are a team and everything, and then we're going to have, then they're one step closer to being the Raw Tag Champs. In the middle of the promo, though, the Street Profits just jump them, and then they leave, and then we have that match, Profits versus Angel and Andrade. It's a pretty good match, and Montez hits the frog splash from the rafters. He twists in midair to hit it. It's a beautiful thing, and that's how the Profits win. And after the match, after the break, we see Andrade and Angel kind of talking it out, and Zelina chews them out for it, saying, we'll have to, very mad at the boys, basically. And they said they're on the same page, and they want to prove it later on. I'm just so bored of Andrade and Angel Garza right now. They were compelling at first, and I feel that like they had something going when they were kind of like running roughshod over Raw, but then when they were immediately, like not even a chance to get any kind of dominance in, we're just like snuffed out in amazing fashion by Drew McIntyre. And then they booted Austin Theory, who's now MIA after the speaking out movement. You notice like they just added him to the Seth Rollins thing, and they showed him once, and he's gone. So then you've got, he says, these guys, again, what are these two guys? Well, what are they going to be doing? It's, I don't know. I just don't care anymore. I've lost a lot of interest. The most compelling thing they're doing right now is Angel Garza and Charlie Caruso. There's nothing in-ring about them, or they're on again, off again, will they, won't they, break up kind of thing. I really just kind of hate how that's totally fizzled, and it just feels like they're just kind of like all stalling right now. They were at one point like the workhorses of Raw, and then they just got totally sideswiped. We then go to the ring where Sasha and Bayley gloat. They do what they do best, and they gloat a whole lot about the women's title match. First of all, a lot of people brought this up in the comments section of the Extreme Rules review, so I'll just apologize for this. Apparently, that officially that Raw Women's title match was thrown out. Asuka is technically the Raw Women's Champion still, and so now we have two concurrent illegitimate championship angles right now. 3 if you count the Cruiserweight situation in NXT, and the fact that it's an interim one. You've got MVP claiming to be the U.S. Champion. You've got Sasha Banks claiming to be the Raw Women's Champion. Those are both happening on one show. That's not okay to have two belts in that same kind of like, I'm stealing this belt and claiming it for my own kind of thing. And it's not so much the NXT because there was a tournament. It's very official and above board. There's still a regular champion and everything. And who knows if they'll ever resolve that too. I bet you that's just going to be totally like out the window. Anyway, Sasha says she didn't steal the belt. She fought for it while Asuka had it handed to her. The gals very pleased with themselves. Then all of a sudden the Kabuki Warriors show up, and Asuka wants a piece. She wants to head out for them when Stephanie McMahon appears on the screen. This was kind of a surprise. We haven't seen her since Money in the Bank, when she filmed her part of that scene with Dana Brooke in the Money in the Bank conference room, and it was clear, very obvious she was not in the same room when they filmed all that. So Stephanie shows up, and she explains that next week there will be a rematch, Sasha and Asuka, to see who will be the true, legitimate Raw Women's Champion. And not only that, this was I don't think it was explained that well in this portion. They fleshed it out better after the break, but it's basically that either women either woman can lose the match, not just by pinfall or submission, but also all the other ways, including if there's interference, then they're disqualified, and so then the winner is the champion. So, for the way Stephanie explained it at first, it was like, it applies to Sasha. We're like, oh, so it's like the same thing we saw at Extreme Rules with Dolph and Drew, but inversed. But no, it's going to apply to both women. So at least it's going to be fair at that point. So then I thought it was kind of cool to see, in a way, to see Stephanie being the one to drop that announcement. I don't know who else it would have been. Like, I was trying to think about that. Like, who could come out and make a proclamation like that on such a short notice? And then it was, yeah, I mean, there's really no one else. So, okay, I kind of a good excuse to wheel her out, I guess. Hang on. That's good H2O. Thank you, by the way, to the 367 lovely folks who are watching right now. Go to our next match, Bayley versus Kyrie Sane. This is a fun one. Tom Phillips he makes an excellent point on commentary here. How is Asuka not just beating up Sasha right now? They're like around the corner from each other at one point. I mean, maybe it's because Sasha's wearing a veritable suit of armor. She's got all 4 belts on her. So if Asuka tried to attack any point, it's like bam, bam, all that metal and that leather. You can't get through that shit. Shayna Baszler is watching backstage, and she has a vested interest at, what's going on there. Big old top rope stomp onto Bayley's back. He's straight up the ropes. It's a great match, like I said. Kyrie hits the insane elbow, but there's a rope break. Bayley hits her own elbow drop, and there's a kick out. Not even a rope break involved with that one. Kyrie counters the Bayley to belly, and she wins in a roll up there. It's kind of an upset. Kind of a good match and a fun finish. Excuse me. The heel ladies are on the ropes here. And, by proxy is a hit to momentum for Sasha Banks as she has that rematch next week. And that should be a good one. Hopefully there won't be any kind of wonky finishes. And maybe this will be kind of our way of having our cake and eating it too. By having Sasha win last night. And then I'm predicting perhaps like Asuka could win the rematch next Monday. And that could also be, that could be something where Bayley accidentally interferes or something like that. Like, a lot of people were speculating that's what was going to happen in one of those matches on Sunday, and it didn't happen. So, maybe that happens next week, and then all the turmoil can finally begin. Give me just a second. I'm going to put a spammer in timeout. You've been a naughty, naughty boy, and I don't want you spamming things. After that, though, we get Drew McIntyre promo time. He talks about how Dolph Ziggler beat him, nearly beat him, almost beat him on Sunday, but almost is really the story of Dolph's entire career. He looks ahead to SummerSlam, but Dolph shows up. He says, Dolph, I've heard this promo uttered so many times by so many people. I may have lost to you, but I saw the fear in your eyes. I had you on the ropes. And yeah, he wants another shot at the title, and Drew rightfully shuts him down. It's like, no, you fucking goof. I beat you, and you might as well have had the stipulation to say only Dolph Ziggler can win, and I still fucking beat you, so be gone. So Drew wants to leave, and then, Dolph tries to stop him, and I'm going to stop this guy right here, by the way. Naughty boy. And so Drew headbutts him, and he goes to leave. Dolph gets on the microphone and calls Drew out and says, I'll do anything. I'll let you pick the stipulation this time if we'll have this championship match. And Drew says, oh, I accept it. I'm going to do the same thing I did to you or you did to me. I'm not going to tell you the stipulation until right before the match. And then, what happens? Like a match or two later, we have an announcement that, next week he's going to pick the stipulation. What the fuck, guys? This is quality control. You can't say, I'm going to lead you on a leash for 3 or 4 weeks and then, oh, never mind. We're just going to do it this way. But it's like, I don't know. Either way doesn't sound very fun because, I don't know how they're going to build Dolph up from now to SummerSlam. They destroyed him and any credibility he may have had left at Extreme Rules. So they better do some serious rehabilitation of his image from now to SummerSlam for him to have a prayer of this being anything worth watching or any kind of competition. The best part of that, though, was that, Drew was like, I'll tell you my stipulation. And then there's that heckler in the crowd yelling, eye for an eye. I'm like, yes, let's make that a recurring thing. I want the eye for an eye to be a recurring thing now. So, yeah, I could not believe how they just, totally killed any kind of intrigue about a build for what the stipulation is. Like, nope, next week it's going to happen. Or maybe they'll forget about it. So then we get, in my opinion, one of the coolest parts of the show, and that's Big Show doing this promo. I got some serious, William Regal going against Cesaro and NXT vibes with this promo where he acknowledges his career's in jeopardy tonight. He thinks about the history that he and Orton had riding up and down the road, making towns and everything, and all the conversations they would have. And so then you've got, is the match next week, not SummerSlam? I don't think so, because no, it was unless picking the stipulation next week is the match is happening next week. So anyway, we go to this promo the Big Show has here is just really good. It's like, I think it's a big monologue. It's a very long promo, and he just nails it. Doesn't flub up once. Like, he has a great promo here. A tiger is most fierce when he thinks it's the end. He's going to go down swinging against Orton. Yeah, this is a damn good monologue. Again, serious, like, play this promo and then like find that William Regal promo against Cesaro. And I think they are very similar, but I think the Big Show's delivery is great here. So then we go to that main event. It's Unsanctioned, which of course means they get full entrances with music and lights, and there's a referee and everything. Hard to believe this is a main event in 2020. Randy Orton and the Big Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what COVID-19 has brought us. Big Show has the advantage early on when all of a sudden Andrade and Angel Garza show up. And then beat up the Big Show. The Viking Raiders show up to even the odds. They must have heard the advice of Ron Simmons. He said, I tell you what, there's going to be a run-in happening later tonight. You better be there ready to right the wrongs. Damn. And then he leaves. Show with a choke slam, and there's a kick out. Shows up the table. He climbs the turnbuckle, goes for that elbow drop he does, but Orton moves, so he crashes the table. We got an RKO. Show kicks out of that one. Not too many people kick out of the RKO. It was Edge recently, and it was Big Show now. So crazy times. Orton whomps Show with the chair many more times. The drape over DDT. Another RKO to win the matchup here. Orton does the punt after the bell. Orton whispers sweet, sweet nothings in the Big Show's ear and stands tall as we fade to black. I thought it was another big win for Orton, in this current state. I'm still loving the character. Big Show's run in this little micro feud has been great as well. I was not looking forward to seeing the Big Show getting involved, but it's been proven to be at least one of the more compelling things about the show. It is unfortunate they have to kind of dip into the reserves to go to these like old legends to get to that point. But it is what it is, and I think there was a good little feud here. My question is, how long can they keep Orton and Drew McIntyre separate? That seems to be the natural evolution of where this is going to go, right? Like, because after a while, Orton's going to run out of legends to kill, and Drew's going to run out. He can only beat Dolph Ziggler up so many times. So, like, when are Orton and Drew finally going to meet up? If the chat is to be believed, and the rematch with Drew and Dolph is not happening at SummerSlam, then maybe it's going to be at SummerSlam. That would be interesting. I would love to see. God, can you imagine that? Where it's like, all those years, 16 years after Orton's first world title win at SummerSlam, he once again takes the belt off Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. That'd be pretty interesting stuff, I would think. So, yeah, I think it was an overall interesting show. Let me pull up my grade graphic in a second. You can see what I thought about it. I kind of, I'm pulling a Extreme Rules 2020 and giving it a good grade. I'm giving it a B- here. I liked, there's a lot about the first hour I really enjoyed. I think it was cool. Shelton came back and won the belt and is now part of MVP's crew. Ali coming back. Mustafa Ali is back once again, and he was in good form. Bayley Kyrie was a great match and kind of a fun finish. Orton versus Big Show, the whole build, not just the match itself, but like the build and the way they kind of hyped both sides up. I think it was very well done. And again, yes, Orton and Big Show are not exactly fresh, compelling names in 2020, but the story they told here, and just as part of Orton's progression as Legend Killer 2.0, I think it makes total sense. And so I'm happy with how this show went. Did I rate this higher than Extreme Rules? I might have. I'm trying to think. No, that was B-. No. You know how I know it wasn't a B-? Because I know that Extreme Rules was not as good as the next two classic reviews that I'm doing, and those are bigger than that. So those are my notes. That's my thoughts on Raw. Only took 23 minutes to get there. Not bad for a 3-hour show, but I hope you enjoyed that review, folks. And now, as is tradition, I'm going to jump down to the Super Chats and just see what all you lovely people had to say so far. Biggie B with a $2 Super Chat. MVP, Bobby, and Shelton Benjamin, are they the new Nation of Domination? It's easy to make that leap. to, oh, it's a bunch of black guys together, new nation. We've been seeing that. We've been hearing that speculated and demanded and theorized and fantasy booked forever and a day. And, I mean, it's really tired, I think. I don't think you can do the Nation of Domination. You absolutely can't do the Nation of Domination today. I think it's very relevant now. I think it's just as relevant now as it was in 97, even more so in this current climate. But I don't think you could really... I would never put that on WWE to try and explain that in a tactful way. So, yeah. I want to abandon the idea of... If it's black guys congregating in one group, it's got to be a new nation. I'm really sick of that idea. So that's what happened in the New Day too. When they first formed, like there was kind of like a red herring, that promo that Xavier Woods had, like calling them together, felt very New Nation-y. But then they just totally abandoned that. Nope, they're a church group now. Possibly a cult. That was one of my earliest theories with the New Day. Was like they're secretly a cult. That's what they have to be. They weren't gospel. It was all front. But no, that's so. I mean, it's easy to say New Nation Domination. I say it's New Beatdown Clan. Honestly, I would do that comparison. Tyler Joseph Smith with the $4.99 super chat. Let's say Reigns has retired early. You have control and want to unify the titles. I don't know why Reigns retiring has anything to do with this. Drew or Braun, who would you choose to become the face of WWE for years and why? I mean, at this point, if I had to pick between Drew and Braun, it'd be Drew. I think Braun, as fun as it would be for him to be like the guy, I think he's more of a modern Big Show or Kane than, say, a John Cena, for example, or a Roman Reigns. Braun is the kind of guy who can, like, flip-flop face and heel at will if the plot requires it, and he's good for a big feat of strength and to put the stars over with him being so big. But yeah, out of those two, I'd probably say Drew. And also, yeah, one little thing I want to say about Roman Reigns. I was reminded of this because I had a few comments. Because I made a point in my Extreme Rules review where I said, y'all owe Roman Reigns an apology because that ending to the Dolph Drew match was very similar to, what Roman Reigns matches were for a long time, where it's beat down, beat down, beat down, one spear, and they win. So people would say, no, it's different because we like Drew McIntyre now. Well, what the fuck difference does that make? Because if you liked Drew McIntyre and every match you saw with him, saw him get beat down, beat down, beat down, and one Claymore is all it takes, like what we saw on Sunday, would you still like him? Is that kind of lazy booking, repetitive booking, is it okay just because you like the wrestler more? I want you to think about that. I think people are just like, well, and it's the same thing when, God, I did it, years ago, I pointed out how people shit all over John Cena for being immature and stuff, but The Rock was talking about hermaphrodites and poontang pie and llama's anuses. Well, no, it's okay because we like The Rock, and The Rock's more charismatic. Doesn't matter, it's a material. Obviously, if you can work with it better, that's one thing. But I mean, that's my rant. That's my soapbox right now on that one. So thank you very much for that question, Tyler. Let's go back to the super chats of old. Parker Solsang, $5 super chat. By the way, Parker is a new backer on patreon.com/wrestlingwithregret. So go to that website and get all sorts of perks for as little as $1 a month, including you can nominate classic shows, you can watch some exclusive content, get early access as well. Early access, by the way, this week, Bash the Beach 98. So you can go to patreon.com/wrestlingwithregret to check that out. Why is Bruce Pritchard still running both shows and probably the pay-per-views? He has to be beyond tired and burned out. Do they not trust anyone else? I mean, I don't know. I don't read the sheets. I don't read the rags. So I don't know if Bruce is still in charge of both shows. I mean, I've not heard otherwise, so I would assume he is. Yeah, I don't blame him. Like, I think running one show in this climate right now is really shitty. It's a really bad circumstance to be in. Not what he signed up for. And now running both, it's got to be taxing on him. It's a taxing job, even if there weren't a pandemic. Like, to have to run shows like that and be at the mercy of Vince McMahon, it doesn't sound like a fun ride. So, as far as, like, do they not trust anyone else? I mean, Bruce is famously known as being, like, the guy who can take Vince's vision and, like, make it make sense and make it entertaining. And, nobody bats 1,000, but he historically has been the guy to do it. So I think that's kind of why he's in that trusted position. I don't know. I mean, you could get Triple H to run a show maybe, but he's running NXT, obviously, and 205 Live. I think he's still running that one. And, you've got, I'm sure there's other people. I think, more than anything, I think WWE and, as well as guys like, you know, Impact, anyone really, they need to like adopt some ideas from people who weren't the bee's knees 20, 30 years ago. You need to get these new ideas. So bringing back Paul Heyman, as creative as he can be, bringing back Eric Bischoff, bringing back Bruce Pritchard, it's all well and good. It's a Band-Aid, but I feel that like you just need fresh ideas from younger generation. And I think that like the fact that it's so monopolized right now, it feels, at least in WWE, by this older guard who have good intentions and who can hit a home run every once in a while, but like, let's try something new. Let's try something different. But yeah, I mean, I love Bruce. I've got the chance to work with him and everything. He gave me a great opportunity to open for him, his live show in LA a few years ago. And he's a great guy. He's got a great show. And so, I mean, I wish him nothing but success. And I hope he's okay and he's able to rest and take care of himself. Azo Smith, $9.99 super chat. Not Raw related, but just found out that Shinsuke Nakamura's undefeated at Extreme Rules, beating Jeff for the U.S. title in 2018, Finn Balor for the IC title last year, and now tag titles this year. Interesting little factoid. Maybe next year it could be the WWE Championship. That guy, Matt, $2 super chat. Vince Russo versus Jim Cornette, no DQ. Who do you got? Hang on, let me ponder on that. In a straight-up fight, I would probably say Cornette just because he's squirrely. He's like, I mean, he's gotten out of some jams in the past. I'm sure he could throw down if he absolutely had to. I don't know if I would say the same thing for Russo. Because Jim Cornette does not know karate, but he knows crazy. I think that, you know, if it, you know, gets down to it, I'm sure he would bust some heads or two. Like that. I mean, just looking at like the two of them back to back, I'd probably give it to Cornette, honestly. Sam the 196, $5 Australian. Drew or Randy as champ after SummerSlam. I mean, if we're going on the line that Randy could challenge Drew for the championship, I mean, there's a part of me that thinks Randy Orton, because like, I don't know, with the build the way they're giving Orton, how do you not like keep that momentum going? But he doesn't need the championship, so I could see Drew retaining, but like, I don't know. It's getting to the point where I think Drew's kind of running out of credible opponents. They need to do some more building if they want to have anything. If Orton's not winning, then it would have to do a lot of work. Darnell Willison, $2 super chat. Ziggler and losing the big one. Name a better duo. Yep, those two go together so darn nice. Amy M. Lerwick with combined €10 super chat. Thank you very much. You didn't have to re-up the super chat, but thank you, Amy. Recently got into wrestling after 10 years of not watching. Your channel has helped me catch up. Thank you. Thank you for watching, Amy. I'm glad that my channel could help. That's what I'm here for. Infotainment is probably my the category I want to be here. I can't read this freaking super chat. It's like cut off at the bottom. Hold up. Oh, here we go. Azo Smith once again, $10 super chat. I think Adam Blampier's Roman booking video said it best. He wasn't Daniel Bryan in 2015. And I'm losing the message. Hang on. Oh my God, no! Here we go. When everyone wanted to be, and fans never forgave him for it, no matter how good he is in the ring. Yes, I think, you know, I think Roman has the unfortunate distinction of trying to be the guy being pushed in the company in a post-John Cena world. I've had this theory for a very long time about the way they build stars in WWE since John Cena. I think a lot of fans feel maybe not betrayed, but they feel a bit duped after what happened with John Cena. Because Cena got over in a very organic way. I was there for it. I watched it happen. It didn't feel like it was forced. Like, he was the white rapper, and he was on Velocity for a while and everything. Then all of a sudden, he just got over, and then his raps got bigger pops every single week, and he was entertaining, and then the fans gravitated toward him, and that eventually made him turn into kind of a tweener. They wanted him to be like Austin, but it was hard for him to be that muddled. They basically forced their hand to make him more of a pure baby face, but he had an attitude, he had edge. But then they flanderized Cena a little bit. They made him too cartoony, too white meat babyface, too pure, and too goofy. And so he lost a lot of what made him cool, and I think fans felt betrayed by that, because we helped Cena get to that point when he was champion, and now that he's there, he's not the guy that we cheered for originally. And so then they could see, like, oh, here's how the system works and everything. And what started out feeling an Austin kind of projection turned into a Hogan thing, where it was just too dominant, too squeaky clean, and it just it did not resonate with fans of a certain age. That is, I think Cena did a great job in retaining and bringing in younger fans over the decade he was on top. But yeah, there was that older demographic that kind of lost their way and kind of fell out. But I think that with Roman, I think it was way more telegraphed. It was not organic. You could tell right away, oh, the Shield's coming out here, and they're clearly, pegging Roman as the guy. And it was so transparent that I think that after that point, fans could see that, and they went, no, we will not be duped again. We will not be tricked into liking this man. You will not dupe us again, Vinnie Mac. And so that's basically how we got there. Is that everyone hated Roman Reigns because they didn't want another John Cena on their hands. And they still kind of got that anyway. So, Edge and Orton have unfinished business. Well, I mean, if Edge is still hurt, that unfinished business can wait. In fact, that would actually be a pretty good idea, to have Orton win at SummerSlam, have the championship, and then Edge come back from his tricep injury. And yeah, him leapfrogging others to be in a title hunt would, kind of suck on one level. But then again, he was one half of the greatest wrestling match ever, so that seems to be enough of a qualification, I would think. So, yeah, I mean, right now, anything's possible. Anything and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know how WWE is going to maintain, or AEW is going to maintain, with Florida being the shit show it is, the pandemic. So we'll have to hold out hope and see what happens there. Where are we at? 527 people watching this. Hot damn. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. Let me know what you think of this live review format. I mean, as, what was it, 13 minutes ago I stopped doing the actual show, and now we're just kind of shooting the breeze here. I probably won't be on too much longer. I don't really want to... Darnell Wilson, will I do a review for Survivor Series 2002? I have actually, a while ago. Yeah, it was 02. It was the brothers, it was the BOD, it was Brothers of Destruction versus the McMahons, Vince and Shane. That is in the archives, it should be at least. I don't think it's been blocked yet. There are a couple of classic reviews that, have been blocked as of late, and so I do want to bring them back. Bash the Beach 2000 broke my heart that they blocked it, because that, oh man, all that the viewership is just wiped out now. So that might be coming back as a re-edited form. Hang on, I'm a super chat's passing me by. I gotta catch it. Sam the 196, $5 Australian. Completely random, but why did Nexus help Kane bury the Undertaker in 2010? It was never explained. No, because I think what they were planting the seeds for was Barrett versus the Undertaker. That seems to be where they were going with that, and then he would eventually come back. But when they beat up Taker, they also injured him, so he was out for a while. So Barrett lost that shot. That is my recollection of why Barrett versus Undertaker never really went anywhere. Rarely Even asks, should WWE have a prerequisite plan before calling up talent instead of just winging it? Yes, absolutely they should. But they don't, oftentimes. That's the sad reality. You wish they would, but, it is what it is. Let's see here. Do I think Otis is going to... I like how you spelled Otis, too. Like, Honey Bunches of Oats is going to cash in on Braun or Fiend. I don't know. I don't know who's going to... God, Otis feels like such a afterthought right now. Like, he has not been on TV in a couple weeks, and he is the farthest thing away from the title picture at the moment. And so I don't know what they're going to do with him. I really don't. Did I watch Slammiversary? No, but I heard good things about it, and I know a lot of former WWE guys showed up there, like Heath Slater and the Good Brothers and EC3 had a vignette, and Eric Young showed up. I thought that was cool for them. I've heard good things about the show. I don't know if I'll have time to watch it, let alone review it. I had a lot of people asking me to review Slammiversary, and my rule on this is I really don't think I would do a good job reviewing Slammiversary. Not because, out of any animosity toward TNA or Impact, I just don't follow it enough. I don't think I would do a very good job. I would not be able to give you the kind of insightful commentary because I don't know, I've not seen an Ace Austin match. I've not seen too much of Trey Miguel. There's a lot of people on Impact who sadly I don't really follow that much, and so, trying to catch up to that, I don't think I'd be able to. But again, I'm glad that Slammiversary was well received. I think it's great that some of those names are coming back. Captain Spaulding asking, did you see NWA is going out of business? Not true, Captain. Billy Corgan, it might not be true. All I know is that last week Billy Corgan posted a message saying it's not going out of business. So maybe he's deflecting, maybe he's kicking the can. I don't know, but I would believe him. I think he's got the money for it. Motor City Machine Guns reunited at Slammiversary, which sounds really cool. It's crazy. In the same year, Alex Shelley reunited the Time Splitters and Motor City Machine Guns in 2 different companies. That's pretty rad. Chris Bay is the new X Division champion. Good for him. Who would I like to see in a cinematic match? I don't know. I feel like this has been kind of the prevailing opinion, I feel, since last night, but they're kind of like burning the candle at both ends. Like, they just assume that we got to do cinematic matches. That's what everyone likes. Doesn't matter if they make sense or not. Doesn't matter if, it really fits, but they just gotta do it. And so I'm really afraid SummerSlam's going to be just chock full of that shit, and it's going to be kind of annoying. The horror show at SummerSlam. Are fans, is WWE booking Drew McIntyre way too strong? And do you think fans will turn on him? I don't know. It's really tough. It's tough to really gauge the validity of any creative choice that this company makes right now, because there's no organic audience. There's an audience there, but they're told to react a certain way, and it's the way they want it's the way they want it to be done. And so, I feel this way about Damian Priest's face turn on NXT. What has he done to really garner becoming babyface now? How would you know he's a babyface if not for the fact they just put him against Cameron Grimes for a few weeks? Because he seems to be the same character, and I'm willing to accept that he could be a babyface, but let the fans accept that first. Let them be the ones to approve it. I think. So, was Alex Shelley supposed to be doing something in ROH? Yeah, Alex Shelley worked a couple of shows in ROH for sure. I believe he was supposed to be involved in the Pure Excellence tournament that was supposed to crown a new Pure Champion. But obviously, the pandemic happened. And so, I don't know what Alex Shelley's status is now with Impact or if he's signed. But, he seems to be kind of in a place right now in his career where he can bop around and, work wherever he pleases, essentially. Because he worked ROH, he worked NXT, and now he's working Impact. So he appears to have some good autonomy. So good for him on that. I'd love to see him back. I didn't get too much of a chance to talk to him at the ROH shows, but he's a very friendly guy, and so I thought that was kind of cool to meet him there. And he seems to be genuinely passionate about not just wrestling, but also the well-being of other wrestlers as well. Where should SummerSlam take place? Should be Hulk Hogan's private beach. Does he have a private beach? Maybe that's a level of Battlegrounds, that new fighter game they have coming out from 2K. Will I review the Shane Douglas Hardcore Homecoming? Eventually. I have to, right? 'Cause that's the big thing, is a Hardcore Homecoming happened one day before One Night Stand 05. So maybe one day I'll do that. There aren't enough cats in my videos. Cats are a must. Thank you. I had 2 cats, but they died a couple years ago. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you. There are no cats left in the Zane household, sadly. Somebody asked if ROH is going back to doing shows. Right now, from what I've been told, it is a maybe that ROH will be taping some empty arena shows starting next month in Baltimore. But right now, that's not confirmed. I'm still kind of waiting to hear what the final word is on that. And I've been texting the guys, is it going to be happening? I was like, I'll let you know. And my wife is like, but are you going to be part of the show? I'm like, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be texting me these things if I wasn't booked on the show, dear. I have a contract. I'm like, I'm technically part of them now, so I would hope I'm there. Is Brock Lesnar still my favorite wrestler from my old top 8? No. Let me rephrase that. Brock Lesnar from a very specific time window is my favorite wrestler of all time. His first run is prime, because there's nothing else like him. Brock Lesnar now, I would not say, is my favorite wrestler at all. How do the graphics on the screen work? It's OBS, if you're curious. This is the streaming tool I use. Do I look like an angry video game nerd? I don't think so. I think, it's funny. I get those comparisons a lot, me and the nerd, me and James Rolfe. But it's like we have very average looks. We're nerdy-looking white guys with glasses and dark hair. It's why I was compared to Cornette for so long. It's because we share a very similar look. Why do you think I went with sweatsuits? How far ahead do I have classic pay-per-view reviews? I've got right now I'm kind of on a roll. I've got my next couple of months of classics kind of like ready to go, but I'm reviewing them maybe like 2 weeks in advance. So, thoughts on Undisputed Era to Raw or SmackDown soon? If anything, SmackDown, they would get eaten alive on Raw. So we'll see here. Should they let fans in at their own risk? No. God, no. Most fans I wouldn't trust to go to the grocery store, much less a wrestling show right now. I'm going to, let's see, we're at 45 minutes right now, so I'm going to wrap this up really soon. Do I watch Alison Pregler's content? No, I watched a little bit of her stuff, like when she covers like wrestling-related things with Phaelus. Them covering the Baywatch episode with Hogan was pretty funny. Thoughts on AEW so far? Yay, I like them. I don't know. Where at in Baltimore? I don't know what the venue would be. I hope it's not. I hope it's not the UMBC Center, because it's a large venue for any show they've done lately. Much less an empty arena show. That'd be pretty intimidating. I don't know where yet, but I will let you know. I mean, not that it matters. I don't think fans are allowed to go. It's empty arenas, so it's a secret, undisclosed location. Has anyone nominated Over the Edge 99? I'm pretty sure someone has. I don't have the list in front of me. If I do get around to it, and I will eventually, I'm sure, cover every single show that's nominated, but it's going to take a while. But I don't know how I'll cover that. I don't know if I want to do a whole thing where I break down the Owen Hart tragedy and everything. I'll just tell you to watch Dark Side of the Ring, and it'll tell you everything you need to know about that. Will Bayley go back to her face persona? She might be a face again one day, but I don't think she'll ever go back to like that same character. Like, that's gone, you know? Okay, I'm going to wrap this up now. It's been fun, folks. I don't know. I wish I had a more definitive, like, cool way to wrap this thing up. I'm still working on that. But it's time for me to wrap this up, and I lost a lot of sleep last night, staying up late from the horror show and all that editing, all the spooky questions, live stream questions. I should, maybe I'll do more of a Q&A live stream in the future. Like, right now I'm doing other Q&A for Patreon, and so I don't want to dilute that too much. So we'll see how much more Q&A I do, on these things. But let me know what you think about the live format of these reviews in the comments section once this goes live, or once it's archived and it's published. Let's keep this. We're gonna keep this going for a little while longer, as long as the reaction's good. We're almost at 600 people watching. That's pretty cool. Would I ever review Dark Side of the Ring? No. What am I gonna say? Ooh, that sounds salacious. But anyway, we are out of time, folks. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your great super chats and your questions. I will be back live again Friday morning. My goal is to find an English patch for Virtual Pro Wrestling. I had some hard times trying to find it last night, but my goal is to find an English translation or a patch of Virtual Pro 2 and recreate the Brawl for All. If I can't do that, then I'll just try and stumble my way through the Japanese version. And then Friday night, I'll be back doing Friday's SmackDown review, also live. This week, the classic review on Wednesday is Bash the Beach 98, featuring Rodman and Hogan versus Malone and DDP. What a barn burner that match was. And yeah, then next week, I'll just tell you what it's going to be. It's going to be the movie Slammed, starring Zachary Ty Bryan from Home Improvement, and the guy who played Jimmy Olsen from Lois and Clark, and the guy who played Cody from Step by Step. Or is it Corey? Yeah, Corey from Step by Step, and many more. It's going to be a ton of fun. But yeah, that's what's on tap for the next couple of weeks. Oh, I should do a smoke bomb exit, yeah. Or get somebody to cut the lights, and I'll poof out of existence. But it's been a lot of fun, folks. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Brian Zane, and I will see you next time.